Hey everybody, welcome back to Slingin Dirt.
Hey, we got some good stuff coming up today. We're going to be interviewing Josh Most.
Bill Scorching.
We got some Joe's Cam coming.
We got the tech tip of the week.
And we got the illustrious Songer Says.
And then, last but not least, we got fan of the week, so stay tuned, Slingin Dirt. Hey everybody, welcome back to Slingin Dirt TV. That's right, I'm Buddy Way. We got JP3, Jack Prawl, or whatever you want to call him. So, I tell you what, we actually got to go on the track for the first time.
Yes, we did, and it felt good.
You're the only person I know that gets your car pulled apart on the track, and you say it feels good.
Well, it's better to break it in practice than break it during a race,
true.
you know, because it was a bad deal.
Now, you got the shocks from Josh Most, and we're actually going to have Josh Most on the show, so stay tuned. But you got shocks from Josh Most. How'd you like those?
It was definitely a big change compared to those heavy nitrogen-filled shocks like the Bilsteins and stuff. Car was exceptionally predictable. It wasn't so violent. It made it, just everything felt smoother for some reason.
Anybody that you think of looked pretty fast. Now, we were at practice at ID Speedway. Now, the track was real ruddy, it was rough, but we had just gotten like 2 inches of rain the night before.
For as much rain as we had, the track was in really good condition, and it
Yeah.
was probably the tackiest track I think I've ever been on, and stayed tacky the entire night of practice. And we got 4 runs in, or at least I did. I don't know how many you guys got in, but
Well, I had some timing issues, so my car, we got 2 runs in. We broke a tranny. Your car got pulled apart. I did take Johnny Bright's car out. It was actually a pretty good handling car. Some of the sprint cars in the late models look really, really good.
yeah, the number 17 late model, that guy was flying around the track. I'm not really sure who it was, but he was fast.
Yeah, he was fast. But tell you what, I'm pretty excited now that we got to, turn some laps on dirt and whatnot. But tell you what, let's just get right into it. Josh Most from Edge Chassis. This guy's, I wouldn't consider him an up-and-comer.
No, he's been
not
around.
He's not a wannabe.
Nope.
He's been around for a while. He's got some good stuff going on in his shop. So, without further ado, let's go to Josh Most at Edge Chassis. Welcome back to Slingin Dirt. We got the one and only. Some of you like him, some of you hate him. All I know is he's one hell of a wheelman and won a lot of races, or one more than me, which ain't real hard. We got the one and only Josh Most, owner of Edge Chassis. Josh, we got you in Slingin Dirt.
Yep, the one and only show, I guess.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he
the
didn't
one-
even have to hold a gun to his head or anything.
No. Let's get into it. Edge Chassis here a few years ago. You started out, you had a couple cars. You've gotten some big name drivers here in the Midwest. You got Red Munson, the number 2 guy, races Shelby County and Crawford County. You got Goats, Steve Reeds. I don't know how much sweet feed he eats, being in an Edge car, and then you got what I think might be the wildest B-Mod sport mod driver ever, Ryan Top, in one of these. In the few short years, did you ever see this going as far as it did now?
Not as quick as it did, but it's grown a lot, and I do a lot with a lot of my customers, and there is a select few that spend some money that have different cars, buy shocks, basically just want support, and they're slowly working their way in on an Edge car. Just racing costs a lot of money. I mean, you guys both know that. So it's real hard to have whatever you have invested in something and drop it at a whistle and switch brands. I mean, a lot of people can't do that. I'm a racer too, so I don't try to say, hey, you just got to move that car and spend another 20 grand or anything like that. So whatever a customer can do, whatever they can spend, I help them out. The same if somebody's got millions of dollars or they got $500 a year budget.
Yeah, we were talking earlier about how critical, customer support with a chassis manufacturer is. It's nice to be able to call somebody who not only builds these chassis, but you race them too, so everything there is to know, inside and out, nut, bolt, everything, which kind of sets you guys apart from some of the other guys, is that, you're actually driving your own stuff, you know, and and you're successful at it, obviously. So
yeah, it's been a big selling point for that. I mean, that I've still raced and still take care of all my guys. I mean, a lot of them know, they all have a lot of respect for me, phone call wise and stuff. You know, even if I'm racing and you're racing somewhere else, you got a car, I tell them, I mean, everybody's got my cell phone number, you can contact me anytime. But if I'm racing, the first thing I do, my girlfriend Nicole Peterson watches my phone. I get out of the car, she's like, "Hey, such called. They got a question for you." Best thing they can do is they text. That way, you know, you're at the racetrack with race cars running, you can't hear phones, so they text. I text them right back, try to help them out. And I mean, everybody's been really patient with it. I'd say 99% of them are really happy with that, with me still racing, which I still want to do. Biggest thing is why I keep doing it is try to build A-mods, get more and more people in them. Slowly, I do about 10 cars a year, and it's kind of what I want to do because I want to really take care of the guys that been here and just slowly grow it. But I've been really known for right out of the box. Luke Waniger, this is my dad's car. He drove it at Beatrice. First night out, just, I mean, loved it. We tried some stuff for Saturday, just completely did not work. It was something more, you know, I do things a lot different. I mean, if somebody talked to Luke, I mean, most of my guys that haven't raced before, they don't really know, but the people that have raced for 10 years, 20 years, whatever, and if they come on board, they just know I got a whole different program. Everything's a little different. And that's one thing that kind of probably hurt Luke at a special event, you know what I mean? Around 7th, the first night out in one, and there's about 70 cars there, you know, a lot of cars, so it was real tough, but, you know, we tried something. It was something more he wanted to try. I kind of always wanted to try, but I got a window I stay in with my stuff, and it seems to work real well. And I don't know.
When you're talking about guys who are coming over to Edge Chassis from wherever they were at, you kind of hinted to that. You know, you try things a different way. Have you actually had resistance from time to time from driver to driver going, "Well, I don't think we're supposed to do it this way," or, you know, "I've never heard of it being done quite like that"? I mean, have you seen some of that?
Yeah, I've seen a little bit of that. Not too bad. Most people have a lot of trust. I mean, they kind of second guess you, I'd say, and they think that it's maybe not the correct way to go. And sometimes it's too far to go with somebody. You know, some of the stuff I do. You know, there is a driver feel preference where a guy really likes a looser car or a tighter car. Everybody drives different. You know, I'm probably a little on the aggressive side. I like to run on a lot of side bite. I drive it in usually 90% of the time or 100% of the time too hard. So,
You heard it 100% too hard at times.
So it seems to get you in trouble, but I've won a lot of races having that. You know, I've done a lot of different things: go-karts, mini sprints, midgets, late model, modified. Ran a stock car once. You know, I mean, I've done a lot of things. You know, I'm 30 years old. I mean, I don't regret doing any of it, but it costs you some when you do a lot of things. I mean, you do learn certain things, but it does cost you. And like working with Luke at Beatrice, you know, there's a lot of people like Jesse Sabe, he's watched me a lot. You know, I have a tendency, my car is usually sideways going in the corner a lot of time. And that, a lot of it's me. It's not really that the car's too loose or too tight and I'm making it do
it's just
it.
how you drive.
It's a natural feel, probably from most likely the open wheel stuff, because my late model's the same way, and there's a lot of late model guys drive it straight on the right front, and I'm not that way. I mean, it's just a preference. So you got to find the sweet spot for everybody.
With all the different cars that you've driven, though, do you think you've taken what you learned in a stock car, you've taken what you learned in a mini sprint, you've taken what you've learned in a late model, and you've applied those principles to these chassis?
Yeah, especially with the mod. I played around a lot when I was winning regularly at Shelby County Speedway with the IMCA late model. I found a pretty unique package, shock and springs, that seemed to really work for my driving style. I adapted it over to my B mods, and it worked real well there. So then when I got the A mod deal going, really good. I mean, we changed the car a lot this last year, and we got a lot of good things to come. Luke drove my car a couple years ago, and Chris Abelson's drove it, you know, and it was always tight. a lot of traction, but you gotta have traction in turn.
Yeah.
And I finally got a sweet spot now where I think we got a lot of good things up and coming. And talking to Luke out there at Beatrice, which was slick, but he's really, really happy the way the car turned. So.
Well, and just so you know, we were at Beatrice and we talked to a lot of guys around the pits, and you weren't the only one that missed the setup here and there by trying something different.
Yeah, Friday night was a little rubber down, I guess.
Yeah.
On Friday night,
Yeah,
when the track took rubber, and everybody's like, "Ooh, yeah, we didn't see that coming."
Yeah, and it's kind of funny. A lot of people see me out Friday night, and I was kind of hanging out with everybody, having a good time. And it's rubbered up, kind of one lane, so it's hard on the tire bill. And I went to that deal. Basically, I got Justin Zeitner in the car. Really, it was dead set in my mind after Friday night that I was just gonna spend my time and money really helping them, because that's what sells more race cars to me. If I'd go out and win, everybody's like, yeah, Josh must win. But if Justin Zeitner on second,
I love how he just
okay, whatever. He builds his own cars, So if Luke or Justin, one of my customers run good, it looks twice as good as if I run good. So I had it dead set in my mind after Friday night that I was just gonna park it for Saturday and help those guys, and I didn't even go draw, and I had somebody go draw for me, and sure enough, they drew number one, so I was stuck racing, I guess, which is what it is.
Darn.
Yeah, I was like,
oh darn.
I was like, this is all your fault. You made me race. So, but I'm 100% behind helping my guys. Even guys that buy just shocks. There's some guys that hire me to go to the racetrack so they can learn. Last weekend I went with Jeff James, Todd Van Eaton to Memphis, Missouri. That's the first time really Todd Van Eaton's moved out of the Corning, Iowa area pretty hard at a spring special, and he's doing a lot more racing. And went over. Both those guys are on my shock card. My shock packages. One's on a Razor, one's on a Skyrocket.
So when did you start doing shock packages?
I've always kind of done them since I got into really before the mod deal. So I've been doing it for 5-6 years on shocks, but I've really hit it hard in the last 3. I got a pretty expensive, I got a roaring shock dyno.
Yeah, we'll be taking a look at that.
Yeah, we're going to be taking a look at that.
We're going to go over there.
If you talk to anybody that does shocks for a living, Andy Eckridge, Advance themselves, I'm sure Bob Harris, there's a lot of guys. There's other good stuff out there, but that is what they call the top of the line. It's a lot of money, but you get to a point with anything, your race car program, anything, you got to do it either full bore
all in or
you're
not
doing
all.
it for fun.
Right.
So
Yeah.
I got to a point where I'm in doing that full bore. And I do a lot of things, for a one-man show. My dad helps me out a lot. My girlfriend helps me out a lot at the shop. But from everything from, I got a kid hired that still does all the welding, and I work with him when I got time, but there's not enough time you can do it all. One guy show, frames on up, but I just still do all the bodies, shocks, setups, repairs, everything pretty much myself. I still got one full-time hired guy that he's in a separate shop. He just, that's the way he wants it. We got 2 shops going. It's a little, not very usual, but we got 2 shops going right now. I've been looking at a place, try to combine them both.
Expand a little bit?
Yeah, I try to expand a little bit, but I don't want to really move too far from where I'm at. I got a lot of guys, Omaha area, Creston,
Sure.
Denison. I'm kind of neutral, so I don't know. I get a lot of happy customers, and we got something working, I guess. So
The one thing I've noticed, and you and I have talked about this on the phone before, you have a lot of chassis manufacturers. There's a lot of good chassis out there. A lot of good chassis. They all win races. Your chassis wins races. But I've seen chassis manufacturers that really like to specialize just in their chassis. And I see their argument where, if we only work on our chassis, we give a lot better customer support. You, on the other hand, even back when you drove my B-Mod and lit the world on fire with an old turd at an I-80 during the Charlie Clark. And that's what I'm going to is you'll work on other people's cars too. You do the Edge car, but you'll work on somebody else's car. And the one guy that comes to mind is Red Munson. I think he had a Harris last year, and you're down here at 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning rebuilding the back end of that thing. Well, guess who's in your car this year?
Yeah.
Red Munson.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of guys have a lot of respect for that. You know, it's pretty tough to do everything I do. I'll be the first to admit, race shops don't make that much money. Building cars is not that much money. I mean, they are expensive, and it's real hard to make it all work. I mean, there's a lot of people that do other things other than just race cars. So I used to truck, and I made a lot more money trucking and doing the race car thing, but it got to a point where this is what I want to do. I'm going to give it 100%.
Well, and it's not about the money sometimes. It's
No,
about
it's
the,
not.
It's a love of
And-
the sport and what you're
And that's
doing.
why I do that. I have a lot of pride in my competitors, my racers. So, you know, Red Munson was on another car. And I mean, we've gotten into it before where I've made a mistake and tore up his stuff and, you know, felt real bad. And, you know, we've always kind of gotten over it. And he got tore up and he was racing for points down at Harlan. I thought he was done. I drove, I had my pickup there. I just hooked onto his trailer. I drove it home, stayed up all night, worked on his Harris car, got it fixed. And he showed up the next morning. And
Well, there's something
There we go.
interesting in your trailer. This piece of cardboard that has Josh Most's name on it. You want to elaborate on that, buddy?
Nope.
not at all.
You know which sign I'm talking about.
Yeah, there's.
It's still in there.
And I mean, when you race hard, you're gonna make mistakes. Everybody does it, and I've made a lot in my racing, and it's made a lot of enemies. And I mean, there is a lot of people that you know think I've changed a lot. I mean, there is still, you know, I slipped up at Beatrice, had my nose stuck in somewhere, and it was just kind of one of the deals. I got into a kid and didn't really want it to happen.
But in the past, we've talked. I'll never forget this. You said, you know, in NASCAR, they have 500 laps or 200 laps, whatever. So you can take your time and pace yourself. In dirt track racing, you've only got 20, 25 laps tops. You know, for a weekly show, a lot of times you go to Eagle, I-80, Harlan, you've got 18 laps. So you need to make your move right now.
Well, not only that, even in the heat races, you might only get 6 or 8 laps just to get, you know,
Yeah.
like a place like Eagle, you get 6 or 8 laps to try to get to a transfer spot for an A with 60 cars out there, you know? It's crazy. Sometimes I think it breeds that type of racing.
Well, it does.
You know, car count does that, and, you know, some people just drive like that all the time. You know, it's
Well, it gets hard. I am saying the late model stuff when I used to do it, you got heat race points. I mean, so you got like 3 points for winning, 2 for second, 1 for third. So even a heat race, even though you're not really, I mean, like the late model thing kind of died off where everybody makes a show, so it's not a big deal, you know. And heck, I mean, it got bad enough there for a while. All you had to do was finish the heat race, you made the Ember. You know, there's only 10, 12
Yeah,
cars, you know?
right.
So it didn't really matter. But you know, if you're points racing, I mean, you gotta take care of your car, but also that 3 points is a big deal to win a heat race. If you're, you know, if your guy second in points, you know, didn't make the top 3,
Sure.
that's 3 positions in the main, you know. I mean, so it's like you don't even have to win the main, and you're still coming out even.
Yeah.
You know,
Well,
so-
you take 10 shows at 3 points for a heat win. That's 30 points in your season points run.
Yep.
You know, that could be your season championship. You could win all the features you want, but if you ain't doing good in the heats, you know, so. But I always lashed onto your words is you got to make the move within the first 5 to 6 laps.
You
You
do.
know-
Some people think that you can't win a race in the first corner, which is true. You got to finish the race
Yeah.
to be able to, you know, compete for the win. But there is a lot of times that you can make some major ground in the first few laps.
And I'll be honest with you, we've had this argument before
Yeah.
where we've both been racing the same track, same heat race, whatever, and Buddy decides he's going to try to take everybody 4 wide in the first corner, the first lap of a heat race. So somebody's got to give.
Well, I listened to Josh
and
Most.
he
You got to make
knew
your
that
move
I would
quick.
give because I'm a low budget racer, so I got to save my crap, and I can just see the snowball coming downhill, you know. So, you know, there is opportunity, there's risk, and there's reward, you know.
There is.
So
And-
it's all about how much money do you have to put the car back together.
Well, it
if you
is.
screw up, you know.
And honest that there's a lot of people that usually, and I found it out with some of my customers, the people that, you know, if you really are out there and you worry about getting a wheel mark and tearing something up, it's bad to say, but usually them are the guys tearing stuff up, and it's costing money every week. And it's always, I mean, every racer can
Sure.
probably agree, if there's somebody spins out in front of the whole field, usually, and it wads up 5 cars, usually they're the only ones that drive away. That's, I mean, I don't know
Yeah.
why, it's always that way.
Yeah.
And I mean, about every racer probably could agree with that.
Sure.
It's just, I don't know what it is. It just always seems like it's that way, so, I don't know.
I tell you what, we're gonna take a break. We're gonna be right back here on Slingin Dirt. We're gonna go into your little parts room. We're gonna look at your shocks and have you do us a little tutorial on shocks with advanced technology shocks. So stay right tuned. Stay right here and we'll be right back. Now we got a little bit of a second segment that covers shocks with Josh. That's gonna be later on in the episode. One thing I do like about Josh is he's very candid. Very candid.
Oh yeah, he's just straight up upfront guy. He tell you what you want to know. You know.
Yeah, the one thing I take about Josh is he knows people don't like him. He knows a lot of people do like him.
Mm-hmm.
His number one priority, though, is his customer base. And in a sport full of egos and whatnot, you know, we've talked about this with Clint Llewellyn. Clint Llewellyn's a very humble, down-to-earth kid. I think Josh can be that same down-to-earth, humble kid. You know, Josh had every opportunity to brag about how good he is and how smart he is and how fast he is.
And he didn't do any of that.
He didn't
and,
do any of that.
Most people don't understand Josh like we know him, you know. That guy has so much talent and so much knowledge for it. A guy
Yes.
of his age, it's incredible. But somebody has to wear the black hat when you're racing. It's no different than NASCAR, you know, Earnhardt, Rusty Wallace, you know, Brad Keselowski. Those guys that are trying to wear the black hat, you know, versus the Jeff Gordons, you know.
I have a black hat.
Yeah, you just have a dirty hat.
Yeah. Dirty.
But, you know, Josh, he races hard.
Yes.
When he is on the track, he's giving it 110%. He doesn't read whose name or numbers in front of him. You're just a car in his way. So,
You know, when you got drivers like Luke Waniger in the number 20 Edge car, you've got Red Munson that's going to be in an Edge car. You got Jeff James who's in an Edge car. When you're getting some of these names in your car, that really speaks to the credibility of your chassis and your product. And that's what was so impressive about Josh. Like I said, he could have bragged about how good he is and how he's won all these races and all this and all that. And he was more focused about his customers than himself.
well, that's the one thing that he really, really stresses is his customers being able to contact him
Yep.
with technical help 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. He doesn't care. When you have a Edge chassis or some of his shocks, if you got a question, he says just text him, because if he's at the races, he has somebody monitoring his
Yep.
stuff 24/7. So, and he doesn't pump out chassis like a lot of these chassis makers.
He wants that individual one-on-one.
One-on-one. I think he said he does like 10, 12 a year.
Yeah,
you know,
if that.
so he's just not cranking them out for quantity. He's doing quality stuff.
Well, we'll be right back with Josh Most. But I tell you what, the next guy we got coming up, Bill Scorching.
Mr. Bill.
Mr. Bill. So, you know, incredibly nice guy, but let's see what he's got to say about some of the stuff that he saw Beatrice Spring Nationals. Here's Mr. Bill Scorching. Doing real good.
Doing real good, having a good night, good car count, everything's going great.
So, caught any cheaters yet?
No, sir. Well, we got some hobby stocks that are a little loose in the back. We tell them, and we'll get them in feature time.
How's that tire sniffer working? It's been all over Facebook.
Is that right?
Yeah.
We haven't caught anybody yet, so just look out for a surprise tonight again.
Who do you think there's some good guys to watch here on the Saturday night portion of Spring Nationals?
Oh, Nick Vanover. You got to watch Borman, Grabowski, Sadoff's on a roll. So, gonna be a good night.
There you go. Hey everybody, we're back here at the World of Wheels. Of course, I'm Buddy Ray. Jack Prawl is too ugly to be on camera, so we got him behind the camera. But more importantly, we got 18-year-old sprint car phenom Dakota Hendrickson, senior at Concordia High School out of Omaha, Nebraska. Dakota, how's your World of Wheels experience going?
You know what? It's actually been a blast. I'm having really a lot of fun down here, giving autographs to a bunch of little kids, and it's just neat to see how all the little ones running around and how positive they are.
Now, you've been racing weekly out here at Knoxville. What class sprint car are you running? Are you running the 410s, the 305s, the 360s?
I've been in all three classes. Currently, I'm in the 410s, so it's the open class. It's the hardest division out there.
Now, how long have you been racing overall?
I started racing when I was 8 years old. I'm 18 now, so I've been racing for 10 years.
10 years. Jack Prawl doesn't even have 6 months. Well, Jack Prawl, now my co-host behind the camera, he'll tell you he's been racing for 15 years, but he's only raced about 30 days of that. The rest of the time he sits in the garage. What's the big thing that you like about Knoxville Speedway? I mean, this place is known to have the greatest show on dirt, but what is it about it with you that you like?
Oh, Knoxville's a very unique place. It brings the hardest competition. If you can race there, you can race anywhere. The people that are at Knoxville are the best. They got a tremendous safety crew. It's like family. It is really like a family, and all the other drivers are very friendly and very nice. So that's what I like about it the most.
When I've seen Knoxville Speedway, I've never raced a race there. I've never actually been inside the track, but when you drive by, it kind of reminds me of that old Roman Coliseum look. I call it the Coliseum on dirt. Now, supposedly, they have a really good track announcer there, Mike Roberts, Mike something or other. Who is this guy?
Oh, he's a goofy guy, but he's a really nice guy. He does a lot of stuff on the infield, and he really connects to the drivers personally. So.
Yeah, I've actually met Mike Roberts. He's a really nice guy. Seems very friendly, very knowledgeable about the sport. How can people, follow Dakota Hendrickson in your racing?
I got a great website, dakotahendrickson.com. I'm on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. You can find me pretty much anywhere. I race Knoxville weekly, and I'm also going to compete in the new NSL series.
There you go, folks. You heard it here at the 2015 World of Wheels. Dakota Hendrickson, driver of a 410 sprint car, something Jack Prawl will only dream about. All right, we're back with another person here on the Joe's Cam. That's right, we're stuck between the 4 cars. We got 2 winners back here, 2 losers back there. So you won't see the losers, just the winners. So, what's your name?
Ben Baker.
Ben, where are you from?
Roca.
Roca. Is that anywhere near Manhattan?
No.
What about Miami?
Not
Tallahassee.
even close.
Where's Roca?
It's like in the middle of nowhere.
Oh, okay. All right, kind of like Jack Prawl's racing right now, in the middle of nowhere. Never know where you're going or what you're doing, but God knows you're going to wreck something. All right. So I tell you what, you ever been Joe's Karting?
Yes.
You like Joe's Karting?
Yeah.
Have your dreams and aspirations came true at Joe's?
No, I got last almost every time except for once.
Well, at least you got last. Jack Prawl's so slow you can't even finish last. I tell you what, here's what we're going to do today. I'm going to give you 3 races to Joe's Karting. But I know you watched Christy Madden here name some race car parts.
Yeah.
I ain't doing that with you.
Of course.
Nope. So I'm going to ask you 3 trivia questions.
Oh, great.
Yep. So look at the camera here. I want you to tell me, what does the acronym USMTS stand for?
Oh my gosh.
Come on.
I know this one, but I can't think of it.
Can you name a driver in the USMTS?
I'm pretty sure that isn't Grabowski in USMTS?
Oh, he's raced some. Yep. Come on, USMTS. You're a dirt fan.
Yeah, but I can't. I don't like listen to my dad whenever he's jabbing about USMTS.
Who's your dad?
Corey Baker.
Oh my God, we got to have a talk with Corey Baker. Wow. Although Trevor Baker's never heard of Merle Haggard either. So, but anyways, USMTS.
United.
Yep.
Sport. Motocross, and then S. I have no idea what the S would be. It's either.
Let me give you a hand. US.
United States.
That's close. MTS.
Oh, it's MTS.
USMTS.
United Sport Car or something.
Well, that race is gone.
Yep. What is it?
United States Modified Touring Series, the USMTS.
Oh, no, where I already did.
And Trevor Baker just walked right through the entire segment.
Nice job, Trev.
So, anyways, next acronym. Can you tell me?
Oh, great acronyms.
Yep. What NASCAR stands for? You've heard of NASCAR, right?
No, of course not.
Well, because I know the NASCAR officials have never heard of NASCAR, because if you watch the qualifying at Atlanta, they have no idea what they're doing.
Oh, of course.
So what's NASCAR stand for? Come on. This is easy. We have NASCAR tracks around here. Corning, I-80, and McCool. Yeah, they're dirt tracks.
They are? Huh.
Yeah.
I thought they were all on pavement. NASCAR.
Come on. Come on, you got 2 races for Joe's up for grabs.
It's not my fault. I blame Canada. It's always Canada's fault, somehow.
You just don't know it, do you? National Association of Stock Car Automobile Racing. Well, that race is out. All right, so we have one question left. Can you, in fact, I'm going to make this easy because evidently you don't want to race too bad at Joe's, so IMCA. So here's the deal. I'm going to give you 3 guesses. You get one chance to guess the right answer. IMCA stands for International Mental Capacity Association, International Moron Catholics of America, or International Motor Contest Association. Come on.
Number 3.
Number 3?
Yes.
Well, in your world, which is number 3? 1, 2, or 3 in my world?
1, 2.
The last one I
Number 3,
mentioned.
Yeah, of course.
So which one? You have to say the answer.
Number 3.
International what?
International. I didn't even listen to what you said.
So you didn't even listen to what I said, so you're just going to pick that one?
Yeah, of course. The answer is always C.
You think like Jack Prawl drives. Doesn't make much sense, but you know you're going to get somewhere.
Yeah, hey.
All right, so you're going to go with International Motor Contest Association.
Of course.
All right, well, I'll give you a race. Good Lord, folks. Tracks. I don't know what to say. Words have no... We'll be right back here in a little bit. Who are you?
I'm Chris
No,
Madden.
you got to talk to the microphone.
Oh, well, I'm Chris Madden.
Chris Madden. Do you own Madden Football on PlayStation?
Yes.
What is the game cheat codes for Madden Football? Can you tell me anything?
Left, right, up, down.
What? You got to talk closer to the microphone.
If I talk any closer, we're going to be in trouble.
Well, that's fine. I don't care. This show may not be PJ rate. We don't even know what the show is yet.
Oh, God.
All right, so here's the deal. I got
Okay.
a question. You're from Council Bluffs, right?
No.
I
But,
thought you were.
no, I'm not from there, but I live in Iowa.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I know her from Council Bluffs. All right, so anyways, you've been to Joe's Karting.
Yes.
You like Joe's Karting.
Yes,
You have a lot of fun at Joe's Karting.
I did.
Did all your dreams and aspirations come true at Joe's Karting?
Well, that's a big question.
Yeah, that could go either way.
Right.
So I tell you what, I've got 3 races to Joe's Karting.
Okay.
If you want them, you got to close your eyes. I'm going to give you 3 car parts, and you got to tell me where they go on these race cars or what the name of the part is.
Oh, okay.
All right, go ahead and close your eyes. So the first thing we're going to do, all right, you can open your eyes. What is this? You can hold it, touch it, do whatever you want with it. Keep in mind, this is a family show. Come on, it's not that hard.
Does it go on the wheel?
Does not go on the
Steering
wheel. Nope. In what country? Finland? I mean,
Oh,
come on. It's not that hard.
there's only one hole.
Come on.
I don't know.
You're looking at the car over here.
I know. Where's yours? Where's your
My
piece like
my
this?
one hole is covered. So, but anyways, what is that? Come on, come on. Tick tock, tick tock. Do, 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 do.
I think it's old.
Well, yeah, it's probably old. I own it. Actually, Jack Prawl does. Jack Prawl doesn't own a current race car part within the 19th century.
I'm gonna say it goes on the well, maybe the shaft. I'll say shaft. Just
Nope, nope, nope. So that race is gone. It's actually a spring cup. We put springs in there, and a weight jack goes right here, and then we pick our springs up and down.
Well, how do you expect a girl to know all this?
I don't know. Some girls, hey, there are Shaylee Bay drives a sprint car, and she's over there, and she's smarter than Jack Prawl.
She doesn't look like she drives a sprint car today. She's pretty.
Yeah, she's pretty. All right, next item up to bid.
Oh boy.
Come on. I will give you a hint. This is not the newest form of Tupperware cereal bowls.
Hey, this thing goes on like a doesn't it go on like a carburetor?
Yeah, there you go. You got a free race. It does go on a carburetor. It's a carb hat. We put them on our carburetor, so.
There's like a wing nut or something that holds it on.
A wing nut. That's awesome. Jack Prawl wouldn't even know what a wing nut is. The last time he talked about a wing nut, he lost a nut on the racetrack somewhere, and he just winged it out the car door because people scared him when they passed him on the high side.
Yikes.
Yep.
Okay.
So, all right, last item. What is that? Come on. Come on. You're 1 and 1.
It goes something to do with the suspension. It's control arm.
Seriously? Final answer.
Yeah.
Yep, it is a control arm. Actually goes right on top of the car.
No.
It's just an Iowa shirt. You ain't gonna hurt nothing. So, yep, they go just like that. Now, normally they go like that on a modified, but if you're Jack Prawl's car, it could be sitting like this, or like this, or like this, or like this. Sometimes Jack can actually have it sitting inverted like this. He's kind of an inverted kind of guy, so. But
That's kind of scary.
there you go. You got 2 free races to Joe's Karting.
Rock on.
Now, you may not get all your aspirations, but at least your 2 dreams will come true.
You want to race?
Sure.
Sweet.
Are you fast?
Yep.
I'm quick.
It's a date.
Yeah. All right. There you go. Christy Madden from Council Bluffs, Iowa. And no, she's not the owner of Madden Football. You know, Dakota Hendrickson, for as young as he is so well-spoken. It's almost like somebody has taken him into a studio and literally coached him.
Yeah, he's very, you can tell he's groomed. He's learning how to, be that public figure. And for a guy that hauls all the way from Omaha to Knoxville for a weekly show.
Can you imagine?
That is just
That's
dedication, and like I say, I've been kind of peeking on Mav TV every once in a while to see if I spot him out there. They've been doing a few shows at Knoxville. I haven't seen him on camera yet there, but I'm sure they'll get around to him.
Like I said, I can't believe how well, actually you said it better, or best, how groomed he is. Just sitting there talking to him, you'd think you'd be talking to a real young Jeff Gordon or a real young Tony Stewart or a Casey Kane, somebody who came from the sprint car ranks. Hopefully we get to have him on later on this season on Slingin Dirt TV. So the best of luck at Dakota and whatnot. So if you want to stay tuned, we're gonna go to our sponsors and we'll be right back.
Joe's Karting is the Metro's fastest indoor karting facility. Come to Joe's to experience speed, join the competition, and ride the fastest indoor track around. Our professionally designed indoor karting track is perfect for arrive and drive racing, race classes, and racing competitions. We offer affordable pricing options, membership packages, event outings, and so much more. Stop in today to get registered for your next race, and don't forget to like us on Facebook for deals, giveaways, and more. Visit us online at joeskarting.com.
Would you like to see your ad right here on Slingin Dirt TV? You need money, we need money. So if you want to sponsor an ad on Slingin Dirt TV,
email me at buddyj@joeskarting.com. It's BUDDY, letter J at joeskarting.com, karting with a K. Gain some traction, become a winner by putting your sponsorship right here.
Hey, welcome back to Slingin Dirt. We got a great tech tip. When we were with Josh Mose interviewing him, he kind of took us off into a whole nother part of his building, and he gave us some information on shocks, and I found it so fascinating. that I actually bought a set of his shocks. So
You were like a kid when you had those shocks.
so if my wife is watching, you didn't hear that. So
He's
she doesn't
texting his
know yet.
crew chief. Oh, look at these shocks. Look at these shocks. Oh my God, look at these shocks.
So
oh
with,
God.
you know, so with further ado, we're just gonna go straight to it, and you get the straight poop right from Josh Most.
So we're back here with Josh Most on Slingin Dirt. Josh, you know, these advanced technology shocks, this is something I'm not familiar with. You know, you go in my trailer and I got 15 shocks for what I think is a wide assortment of shocks, and I've been told, not from you, but from guys like Kyle Burke, some of the mini sprint guys, you know, focus on driving and don't worry about the shock game. Would you agree with that?
I mean, yeah, to a certain extent. I mean, you got to have somewhat close that works for you, but after you get there, there's enough technology in shocks now to where you can get something that you can run on an average racetrack. And a lot of guys, you know, they're gonna say I'm wrong or whatever, but out of all the shocks I've sold, I've had people test and everything. You can run that same shock. I mean, if you ask Jesse Sabe, Hunter Marriott, I mean, pretty much anybody you want, they're probably running on average about the same 4 shocks almost all the time.
Well, that's what I was going to get into is on your shocks here. You were telling me here a while back that you run 4 shocks. It doesn't matter if it's a half-mile track, a bull ring, dry slick, rough, tacky, cornfield style track. You run the same 4 shocks everywhere.
Yeah.
You know, and to me, now I'm just a dumb old B-mod driver, but to me, I don't understand that concept because we're putting a 2060 Bilstein on for a heat race and then a 1080 compression on for the feature. Well, if I can use one of your shocks, you know, you start talking $100, $150 a shock at 15 shocks, well, I'm going to have the same amount of money in 15 shocks carrying them around when I can just have 4 simple shocks from you.
Yeah, you can do it that way. I mean, like a Bilstein's a really good shock for the economy racer. If you're looking for something more than that, I mean, there's a lot of people who go the Integra way. I mean, everybody's got their own preference, and everything wins races. So it's whatever works for your program, whatever you want to do. You know, a lot of guys that are buying shocks through me, I mean, it's not all just my customers. I mean, last weekend, you know, I went with Jeff James, had a Skyrocket, Todd Van Eaton had a Razor. What I got is basically something that works pretty generic with everybody. I mean, Clint Llewellyn, he's been an AFCO guy, and I was just there wrenching with him, beside him, and his stuff was like hard to stay on the right front, and he didn't know, and I went through his shocks, and I kind of explained to him why I thought, you know, with what I do, why one of mine would help him out, and he put it on and he won. So I don't know if that was the answer or not, but I mean, the kid probably was going to win anyway, so I mean, I'm not going to use that for an excuse, but there's enough out there, technology. What we found out is you can get a shock to run at 6 inches per second, basically in your average or rough racetrack, but when it moves slower, it changes the rate.
Well, with that being said, you said Bilsteins are a good shock for the economy racer. Your AFCOs are a good shock. You got Integras that are good shocks. But what is it about these advanced technology shocks that you like so much?
It's probably been a good 10 years ago. They used to be tied in with Carrera, and they're out of Indianapolis, Indiana. They do probably 90% of your midget open wheel race cars, a lot of late model stuff. I mean, they do a lot of stuff, a lot of UMP stuff. They used to buy Carrera bodies, and they always built their own internal guts. They spent a lot of time, and they have something that works really good on pistons, shims, everything else that works really well, and they're a really nice piece. So QA1 bought out Carrera. I don't know what happened there, but I don't know. They ended up just expanding, making their business bigger, doing everything. I mean, they build their own jam nuts, times, everything's in-house. But the deal with them is they have nothing pre-built on the shelf. I mean, they'll sell 600, 1,000 shocks a day, and they ship them out, but everything is a custom build. So there's a waiting list, which I'm tied in pretty good with them. I stock their stuff, and I went and spent 3 days out there with them building my mod shocks. So I got my own mod program. That's my deal through them. I do all the upkeep. I do change them for, say, you want a little bit softer on your compression, a little bit more tie down on your right front, help the car turn. I take them apart. I do all that. That's why I spent the money, got this Roaring Shock dyno. They got 6 of them out there. They said if you're going to do it this way, so we're all on the same page. As long as you can be on the same page with somebody and you can share share a little info, you can find out a lot of smart stuff.
You take a B-mod racer, heck, any racer for that matter, or somebody who's really slow and can't get out of his way like Jack Prawl, what is the first thing that prospective buyer should be asking in a shock guy?
I mean, basically, if you got somebody that has the time to work with you, and give you feedback. I mean, that's one thing. Like Jeff James last week, and he sat there and watched. I got hired to go to the racetrack. I was in the window net explaining what the car was doing. If you got somebody you can explain, it really helps if somebody's at the racetrack and watch, because they can kind of, okay, your car looks tight. Is it tight, or are you making it be tight because you're on the brakes, or you're just not turning it? I mean, you can make a driver can make a car do anything it wants to do. I mean, you can make it be tight, and you can make it be loose. I mean, it could be tight, and you can make it loose. If you wing it in there, slide the tires a little bit, you can make it loose.
If you're Jack Prawl, you can make the wall move.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't done that, so I mean, he's better than me at something, I guess. Yeah. He's got something figured out. But basically, if you got somebody that can work with you and they're willing to work with you, I mean, that's the big key. That's why I did this thing, so I could help the people on my cars, even if you're not on my car. I mean, but they are an expensive deal, and everybody that's got them, they're like, man, they're a little bit more money, but it's everybody thinks it's well worth it in the long run. But if you had a Bilstein, it's a cheap shock, but you bend it and you're sitting at, I mean, it was a cheap shock. So say it's a $125 shock and it costs you $80 to fix it. What do? Do you fix it?
Yeah.
Or do you buy a brand new one?
Right. Well, like I said earlier before, during the break, you get a set of Bilsteins, you're talking $120 a shock. You get 10 of them, you're at $1,200. You start adding 4 or 5 more shocks to have that 15, 16 shock package, you're talking $1,700. You were saying 4 of your shocks are roughly, give or take $50, right around that $1,000 for 4 of them, and you can run them on any track, any night, anywhere.
Yeah.
At that point, you're seriously saving the racer money. You're trying to save them money, and you got custom built shocks.
It is, and I mean, there's some you could probably get on somewhere that's really, really rough, and that shock's not going to be the greatest thing, but it's still going to work. What we found out is like, say, it's nothing against Bilstein or AFCA or anything. You got your rough shocks.
Yep.
Okay, there is some nights that it's just a rough racetrack, and they work great. But I mean, every racer probably knows there's times where you get holes in 3 and 4. Halfway through 3 and 4, and the other end's slick, smooth and slick. Okay, well, I mean,
you're almost going to need 2 shocks.
That's the problem, and you're never going to have something that's perfect in both ends. But if you got your rough shocks, you're going to be decent in the rough. But usually where it's rough, it's heavy. Well, everybody's usually decent when it's heavy. So
not Jack.
But everybody always wants to shine in the slick. So.
Yep.
I mean, the slick is where everybody struggles for traction, struggles for the car turn, struggles for a whole package. So, I mean, that's what everybody tries to work on. So if you can get something that works together, and you can have something average in the holes, where maybe you're not going to pass somebody, but if you can maintain and hold there, and then if your shock works better than that guy with an average shock in the slick, maybe you can pick them off, and then you can be in front of them through the mud and the holes. And then you can pull back away again in the slick. So,
right.
I mean, it's not an ideal deal where 100% it's meant for everything, everybody, every racetrack. But I just got a pretty decent package where I got a lot of happy customers that like them. And everybody's got a choice. I mean, there's been people that bought them and I've offered to buy them back. I mean, if you're not happy with them, I buy them back. I mean,
yeah, you ain't gonna get that very often, folks.
So I don't know. It's not meant for everybody, but I mean, there is a lot of people that have been really happy. I mean, Bill Flagg, before he quit, he had a set, and I offered to buy him back, and heck, I tried to buy him back even when he quit, and he's like, nope, these are going with the car. That's the way it was, and that's the way I liked it. So, so everybody just kind of.
Well, I tell you what, Josh, you build tremendous cars. You build great cars. You got a great shock package going on. It's all in-house right here. You got awesome customer support. How can people get a hold of Josh Most or follow you, or if you want to order a car? Jack's digging out pennies.
Yeah. There's you got a blank check for me. That's perfect. Just sign her and leave it. You can get a hold of me on Josh Most Facebook, or there's an Edge Chassis by Most Facebook. Otherwise, I mean, you can get around and ask for my number. I mean, my number's out there. Anybody can call me, text me, whatever they want anytime. So
Can you make Jack crawl fast?
we could probably make them faster. I don't know how fast you want.
What about me?
Go. We can make it faster.
There you go. So, alrighty, Josh, thanks so much.
Thank you.
All right. I don't know what you guys thought about that, but I simply thought that was fascinating, the stuff that he's doing with shock absorbers.
You said straight poop.
I did.
You did, and I went straight to last week's term of the week, tear-offs. And I was like, yep, you needed quite a few of those tear-offs when you got those shocks. But like I said, at the beginning of the show today, you liked the shocks. You told me you liked the shocks out of 90. They were predictable. You could feel the car.
And I like not having to try to guess a shock package,
Right.
because once you get those 4 shocks kind of set to your car, they're unique to your car, because Josh will tune them to whatever you like, and they're unique to your car. And when you have a set of 4 shocks that you don't have to worry about whether the track is tacky or whether it's dry, slick, or whatever, rough, smooth, that is just a relief, because then you just get to be a driver. You just get to drive the car instead of sitting there trying to guess or having your crew chief trying to guess what's next.
The one thing that I thought was interesting was if you go buy a set of Bilstein shocks or Pro shocks or
DSRs or any of those.
well, not even that just DSR, but like a QA1, you can have 100 50-50 right rear shocks or left rear shocks or whatever, just a 50-50 compression rebound shock. Have 100 of them, and there might be 50 that are 50-50, but the other 50 could be a 45-55, or they could be something else.
Right.
They're all pre-made, and with advanced technology shocks, they're not pre-made shocks. Josh has worked with his customers once again, developed that shock package, and he calls advanced.
Mm-hmm.
So that your shocks hadn't been sitting on a shelf for months and months and months. I mean, they're as fresh can get.
Well, and the thing is too, is you get the great tech support. Red Oak isn't that far away. If you bend or break a shock or something like that, he can rebuild them. And he's not that far away from our general area. No matter whether you're Lincoln, Omaha, Council Bluffs, the Western Iowa region, it doesn't matter. He's close enough that if you can't get it there in an emergency, you can mail it to him, and I'm sure he'll fix it and mail it right back to you.
I tell you what, that comes up to our next segment. Whether you're bent, broken, shocked, fixed, or unique, we have the one and only Songer Says.
Warning, the related content may be disturbing to some viewers. Viewer discretion is advised.
Alright, so I gotta start out with a little apology. I do agree that it's not a great idea to bash a racetrack on social media. And 2 weeks ago, I bashed Waukene Speedway in Waukene, Kansas. I've been there before, and it was an awesome track, had a great time. Still had a good time 2 weeks ago, but it was a little dusty. He tried to run a show in the afternoon, and it turned off dusty. They did everything they could to fix it. I should have kept my mouth shut, because us here in central Iowa are spoiled with black dirt, good clay soils, that don't dust up as easy. So, we're pretty spoiled here with track conditions. Waukene does a great job. I don't want to knock a track. Anybody thinking about going there, it's a great place to go. Really good people. Anybody that's ever raced Kansas knows how friendly everybody is down there. So I want to make an apology to Waukene Speedway. But now for a real Songer Says. You people who go on here and bitch as announcers, flag guys, track workers, whatever you might be, about us putting negative posts on. Well, I agree we shouldn't. And you say it's the quickest way to ruin a track. Well, let me tell you what the quickest way for a promoter to ruin a track. It's when he's a jackass to his racers. I mean, I witnessed a incident. I'm so pissed off I can't even talk. And that don't happen very often. I witnessed an incident here recently where a woman was talked to like she was a piece of trash. Hand put in her face and told to shut up. I mean, regardless of the situation, as a track promoter, you do not tell a woman to shut up and put your hand in her face. I don't know if there's a short man syndrome or an issue with your ego, or, if you think you're somebody that obviously you're not. Because I got news for you promoters that are jackasses.
You need us more than we need you. You're one promoter. One. We are thousands of race car drivers. We can ban your track no matter how great you think you are, and you're the one in trouble, not us. And as a promotion, or as a sanctioning body, IMCA, USRA, WYSOTA, NASCAR, I'd be embarrassed that that man carries my name or any other. I've seen more than one promoter be a jackass to racers. We pay money to come use your facility. We expect a decent facility, we expect to be treated like human beings more than anything, and we expect to get to race. Now, while I will admit we run on adrenaline and a few other things, you know, we're a little more emotional than you promoters, but to treat us like crap before anything even starts is the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen. I've had other promoters just watch them talk down to people, or announcers that'll talk down to people, or people work in the corner, or tech guys talk down to you. That's a bunch of BS, because it makes no sense. We come there, we pay our money, and we bring people with us. The crowd didn't come to see any promoter, I'll guarantee you. They came to see race cars race. And to treat a racer's mother or wife like a piece of crap, I'll tell you what, if it had been my wife, it'd have been the best $500 I ever spent and the most enjoyable year off I ever had. To me, it's ridiculous. There's other things that some promoters do that is immensely wrong. You cannot treat racers like crap, because some of us help you out in more ways than you even know. And you can ask the guys I work with how much they get helped out. But those are promoters that I respect. The Mike Van Gendrens, the Al Thorson, the guy at Jackson Speedway. I mean, I've met a lot. Anybody remotely related with Hayes Speed or RPM Speedways in Hayes, Kansas. My favorite, Chuck Vanderheiden. I mean, those are promoters that want the racers there and they care about the racers. These other guys who want to be jackasses, you earn respect. You don't just get it.
Hey, welcome back to Slingin Dirt. Guess what time it is? Fan of the week.
We've got another Joel Bouchard from Bouchard Transmissions. Joel Bouchard in Bouchard Transmissions, they are a chassis manufacturer and a direct dealer for the Dirt Boss chassis. So check them out, Bouchard Transmissions out of Boone, Iowa.
Hey, today's question is from Logan Duray. Sorry if I butchered your name. He's from Lincoln and he loves watching Buddy Ray race at I-80 in Greenwood. He wants to know how fast you get going during a race. He says, thank you for using his picture and video messaging.
Thanks, Logan. That's a really good question. Now, if you were to ever watch some of the dirt cars out at I-80, you will notice that we sound like a bunch of F-16s hauling the mail around the track, while Jack Prawl here sounds like a Johnny Popper tractor, you know, pop, 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 pop. So, in all actuality, we're probably doing 100 mile an hour getting into the corners. Now, when the track goes dry slick, we'll slow down. Now, you've got a good motor in your car. I've got the crate engine, and I think the beauty behind your car and my car, Jack, is I think certain track conditions will actually favor your car with your open motor, and certain track conditions will favor my car with the crate engine.
Well, yeah, and I'm also running a 2-barrel carburetor. I don't know what gears you're running. I'm running the 514s. I'm not sure.
Well, I'm running 514s. Yeah,
so you know, I mean, we were hitting in practice. We were hitting 6,200 RPM, which is, you know, wide open. And that's what we were running at Eagle too, 62, 6250, right in there. But we don't have a rev limiter, but we don't want to blow up our motor either. But yeah, I mean, you're doing over 100 mile an hour when you get to this corner. At least at I-80 at practice where that track was that tacky. I mean, I was going in wide open.
When the track goes dry slick, it actually slows the speeds down.
Sure.
And at that point, I'm going to think that you're doing all of about 80 mile an hour, getting into the corners. Now, you go to a small track like Eagle, Nebraska, a really well-known track. On a tacky track, you're going to be talking 87 mile an hour, which is pretty good for the sport mods. When the track slows down, goes dry slick, you'll be doing about 60 mile an hour. Now, I do know last year I had the radar gun from Joe's Karting out at I-80 for the Silver Dollar Nationals. How fast do you think the USNTS modifieds were doing out there on that track.
Going into the corners?
Going into the corners, turn 3.
110?
117.
That's smoking right along.
That is smoking right along. The MRLA Lucas Oil late models, Scott Bloomquist and those guys, I believe I was clocking those guys at like 128, 129 mile an hour. If you were to go back through my Facebook page, on my personal page, you would see where I was taking pictures because it was just shell-shocking. In fact, I went in turn 3, it was Jason Crone went right by me, and I didn't think of this, but I'm looking down the track. They're coming this way, but I'm looking down the track going into turn 3, and then when he come blowing right by me, my face just got pelted with mud like a car parked in a sandblaster. I was like, oh dear Lord, everybody was laughing. I was like, okay, let's not do that again. But Logan, that is a really, really good question. We're always trying to find out how fast we're going, how much faster we can go. And in Jack's case, you got a lot of speed you got to find anyways.
Yeah, right. Buddy talks so much crap about how slow I am, but you will find out in the end. But to answer your question, it all depends on the track conditions, but generally anywhere from 90 to 100, 100 miles an hour on a normal track condition is how fast at I-80 you'd be going into the corners. So.
Now, somebody told me, I-80 is a half-mile track, so Logan, when you hear your mom or your dad, Randy, talking, if you hear of another half-mile track, don't automatically assume that's going to be a 100-mile-an-hour track, because even though it's a half-mile track, we've seen Harlan and I-80 are not shaped the same. No. Harlan might actually be a little bit faster. You go to Belleville, Kansas, it's bigger than both of those. If you go to Denison, Iowa, back in the day, it was a big 9/16 track. It was a huge track. And from what I was told, I think it was Joe Kaziski told me in the late models, he had the track record at 145 or 150 mile an hour down the straightaway. That's cooking going down the straightaway on dirt. So even though you got 10 different tracks the same size, you could have 10 different high-end speeds. And then it's just whatever we manage on the low.
Yeah, and there's a difference between straightaway speed and corner speed and average speed.
We want to keep our corner speed up, ironically.
Anybody can go down the straightaway fast. It's the guy that can get around the corner fastest that can make turns fast lap times.
So Logan Duryea, thank you. Your shirt and your tickets will be in the mail this week, which brings me to my next deal. I tell you what, the fans on our Facebook page have been incredible.
Yes, they have. I mean, it's eye-opening.
Yeah, Jack and I, we want to say a thanks. I never expected the show to take off as big as it did. And, if you guys haven't been, go to the Slingin Dirt TV Facebook page if you haven't done so already. We're always asking a lot of fun questions on there. Like there's one, who's going to be who in season points, which is kind of backfiring on me. We got one on there, what's your favorite class? Late models, sprint car, sport compacts. We want to know what you guys like to see.
Yeah, where you're from, the map that you've got on there. We got a map going where you let us know where you're from, and we're putting them all on a map that we can display to show where all our fans are from. I mean, sorry to the people overseas, we don't have a whole world map, but we do
I do have that.
Do you have that going?
I can actually plot. All you have to do to stake your claim to the greatest sport on dirt, you just got to like the Slingin Dirt TV Facebook page, and then tell us where you're from. And then if you want to tell us what tracks you like to watch and whatnot, that's even better. But once I get your name and you've liked our page, I'll put you on the world map. It's not just United States, it's a world map. Okay. So, all the engagement and activity that all of our fans are giving us on Facebook, we love it. Keep in mind, we still want to get some of the tech tips or tricks and tips from you racers out there. If you guys have any results, anything like that, send us the results. We don't care if you're in California or if you're on planet Mars. If there's racing, we want to know about it.
Sure.
We can't cover the entire universe. So,
no. Only our little part of it.
Only our little part of it. So, come to the Slingin Dirt TV Facebook page and interact with us. So.
Yeah, and a fan of the week, headshot, send it to Buddy J.
Ask us a question that we can talk about as drivers, and then you'll win some free swag and a bunch of free races to local dirt tracks. Until next week, this is Slingin Dirt TV. We'll see you around.